Welcome back, everyone, to more X4 Foundations content here at Knee Gaming. In today's video, I want to give you guys an update on some of the things I've seen as I've started a brand new playthrough with version 2.0. I'm roughly 2 hours in at this point, and of course the first 20 to 30 minutes of that were simply me with no other ships flying around mining asteroids and trying to get some seed money. Now, I am using a couple of mods here simply because the purpose of this is not a full-fledged economy test and all that. I want to make the economy give it as best shot as I possibly can. So I have really two mods that are going to help out with that. I've got the Trade Station Sync mod, which I've talked about multiple times before, which greatly helps with the economy in this game. And again, I'm keeping that on for right now, at least in this playthrough, because I don't want to have any opportunity for the economy to fully break down as we've seen in previous versions of the game, or at least it breaks down without the player completely filling in all of the gaps and holes that will develop in the economy. So I'm using the Trade Station Sync and also Station Mule, which will allow me to really concentrate on a few stations that I want to make sure that I keep alive and well. And of course, one of those is where we are located right now, here at the Argon Wharf. Now, just below me on the floor where the medium ships are created, you can see there's some ships being made. Those are mine. And if we pull up the menu here, you can see that I had queued 5 drill vanguards to be built, but unfortunately we were out of engine parts, so it took about 2 hours of game time for the wharf to finally run out of parts and pieces. And you can see I've been keeping it busy with several new miners and traders that we'll talk about a little bit more here in a few minutes, but and that's about normal for me. Sometimes it happens a little earlier, sometimes it happens a little later, but I expected that to happen. So what I've done going forward to try to keep this from happening at least as often is I have a dedicated courier. And of course the courier comes from the ship style. It's a small ship and it is currently set using the Station Mule mod, and it is couriering engine parts back and forth between I believe it's Holy Vision and here at the Argon Wharf. So that's going to make sure that we don't run out of engine parts, or at least very often anyway, because he can carry several. I was actually surprised at how many he could carry each time. Then otherwise in the economy, I haven't noticed anything huge going on, but like I said, it's only 2 hours in, and I wouldn't expect to notice any huge lags in the economy or anything like that. So aside from the economy, there are a few other things that I wanted to talk about that have gotten my attention so far in this playthrough. If I zoom out, let's actually get rid of that for a moment. If I zoom out and come over here, you can see I haven't done a whole lot of anything regarding, traveling around, exploring. I've just done the basic loop around the highway system, and that's about it. So I was very surprised when I come over and I noticed there's a Xenon defense platform that has been built here in Atikva's Choice #1. Now, it's not terribly surprising that you would see Xenon activity in this particular area because they have a jump gate right here to one of their sectors, so you see it quite often. But what I noticed probably from about an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes into the game, something like that, so very early on, I noticed they built this defense station, and then also they came down here and they were messing around with the Atikva's Choice trading station. They had a couple of large ships in here, as well as a smaller fleet of attack ships, and they were doing a little bit of damage. You can see there's still a little bit of damage there that needs to be repaired, but overall they didn't make too much of a dent, and you can tell they certainly haven't taken over the sector. In fact, they haven't even done a whole lot of damage to even the stations that are nearby. So it wasn't a huge invasion. It wasn't anything like that, but they did send some ships in. They did do a little bit of building. So far, that's the only building I've seen them do outside of their sector. And it's certainly the only thing that I've been notified of. We'll sort of move around a little bit and see. That's by far the first place I would expect them to start building. Yeah, it looks like everything else is fairly normal. Now, it does appear as though the war effort is increased, because I've gotten a few messages. About every 15, 20, 25 minutes, I've been getting a message about the increasing war effort. One of the factions has been building, something to further the war effort. So and that seems to me to be more than I've seen in the past, but I could be wrong about that. But certainly from my perspective, it seems like there's a little bit more activity. And of course, that was something that was mentioned in the patch notes that we talked about in our last video. So I'm encouraged at the thought of that. So far, so good on my ships. I've not lost any ships, even though I have been trading Navidium quite regularly over here at the trading station in Atikva's Choice. So far, so good. None of mine have been attacked or destroyed. Moving on to the last couple of things that I want to touch on in today's video, and that is the auto trading and the auto mining. So if we come back in, let's see, it looks like we've got, I'll get these guys up and going, but we do have some more ships being built. That is not one of mine, it's a trader. Okay, so it looks like we're in pretty good shape. Let's take a look. Yes, the final one of mine is about to be completed. So the engine parts are the only thing so far that the wharf has been short on. And again, I am taking care of that. You can see our courier is back with more engine parts. So we're going to keep this guy stocked as best we possibly can. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit on the trading side of things. So far, so good for my auto traders. No trading mod from that perspective with the auto trader. There's a few of them out there, one that I really like, but I have refrained from using those because I do want to test out the auto trader, and so far, so good. Let's take a look at what this guy is actually headed off to trade right now. Refined metals, that seems to be a popular choice right now, and of course, they're very nearby. You can buy and sell those within about 1 gate distance, so that seems to be a very popular choice right now, but the traders are up and running, and so far, I've been in good luck with the crew that I've gotten on these ships, and I've actually been able to auto trade all but one trading vessel that I have built, and that's actually the one I'm using for the engine parts station mule right here. I have one additional trader that is a small trader, a courier, and what I've decided to do is sort of break apart the wares. I love being able to determine which wares they're going to auto trade. And the smaller courier, I'm giving him some of the lesser items that I generally don't want my bigger traders to deal in. So the original plan was to have 2 couriers that were taking care of these items. But to this point so far, Fleet looks like he has gotten around some terrible stuff. In fact, let's just go see where that's at. Where is he at? He's in Argon? Really? He's having to flee? Where is he at? Oh, there we go. Yeah, we've got a vessel up there. It looks like he is not long for this world, as he will be. Yep, there you go. They're going to take care of him in short order. So our guy didn't have to do a whole lot. Let's come back into him and see. What is he trading? Medical supplies. Okay, so again, taking care of some of these while the other traders take care of the bigger components for ships and so on. So far, so good on the economy side of things, using just a couple of mods to try to facilitate. Look at that. Look at these guys coming in here. They are wasting no time trying to eliminate this threat. So now we've talked a little bit about the economy. We've talked a little bit about the war effort and how that's going at this very early stage of the playthrough. Now let's look a little bit more at the auto mining. And this has been the most interesting part for me, the changes they've made here. So I have several miners. Of course, these guys I haven't done anything with yet. They've just recently been built. But if you notice, I've got several Nvidia miners, I've got some ore miners, and a couple of silicon miners. And the reason I have these spread out like this is, number one, I want to keep the economy going. But number two, I decided to spread them out based on the number of stars that I had for the crew, because that now matters a great deal for auto mining. So let's first come in and we're going to take a look at NVIDIA miner number 1. This obviously was the very first miner that I built. Right now we can see he's currently mining NVIDIA over in second contact, so nothing new there. But you notice that his maximum gate distance to gather, maximum gate distance to sell. You can see there he's allowed 2 gates to gather, 3 to sell. And if we come up and take a look at the skill, we are at 3 stars. That allows advanced auto mine. So if we come back out and go into ore miner number 1, and let's take a look at what he's doing. He's mining ore here in Argon Prime, but notice down here below, he's only on sector auto mine. He doesn't have any options to do any jumping through any number of gates. So there are no minimum or maximum values here for him. I simply have to start him in the sector that I want him to do his business in. So that is certainly not something you want to get into very often, as it can be very frustrating because you might not always have a place to sell and mine the same goods in the same place. So we'll have to see how that goes going forward. Especially the most frustrating part of that is, as of now, to the best of my knowledge, there's still no way to pay an additional amount or something along those lines, go to a specific place and find better crew. As of now, you just sort of the luck of the draw. Whenever you build the ships and hire the crew, you get what you get. But if we come down to our silicon miner, you can see for him, very much the same thing. He's on sector auto mine because he has 0 stars, or at least he doesn't meet the minimum 3 stars to do advanced auto mine. And then finally we have expert auto mine, which is a 4-star requirement. Let's actually work our way back out, and I've got a couple of those. You can see I've got them tagged with expert out next to their names, and you can see here again they're going to do their same thing, mining resources, whatever resource you had to mine. And this time we've got some different options. We've got a minimum gate distance and a maximum gate distance for both the gathering as well as the selling. So this will change based on the crew's ability to level up, which brings me to the final thing that I wanted to talk about in today's video. I have actually seen the crews leveling up, not just the captain or the pilot, but also the crew members. So we're going to take a look at that as well. And this is really our first opportunity to see what that does, because when I first set this guy up, and you can see he's NVIDIA miner number 5. He's not the first one I've had. So he's number 5. He hasn't been going quite as long, probably maybe 45 minutes, possibly an hour, just depending. But right now I've got a couple more gates that I can actually have him jump because he's leveled up in the time frame since I got started with him. If we come back into the silicon miner, number 1, you can see he's still on sector mine, but you notice he is almost at that 3-star requirement. Now with the 2.0 update, you get down to 1/3 of a star increments that it will show you on the screen. So that way you'll have a much better idea. Oops, let's come back into that. And let's actually go to the information tab, and let's go personnel, and we go captain. Now in this case, he's already, looks like he's about 1 1/3 stars on management. He had 0 stars when this first started. And you can see he is almost to that 3-star requirement. We'll be able to move him up to advanced. So if we go into the crew, in the past, I would generally see the service crew and Marines just stay at the apprentice or recruit level. Now you notice 6 of our 8 service crew are now able crewmen. And again, they all started at apprentice level. So I'm very happy with the progression. Again, this was mentioned in the patch notes that they were going to greatly speed up the progression of your crew depending on what you're having them do. If they're performing their jobs, they're leveling up. And the idea is they're going to level up pretty quickly to get up to, 2, maybe 3 stars. But then after that, it becomes a very arduous process for them to get up to 4 and then finally 5 stars. And that makes a great deal of sense to me. Of course, the Marines are not going to level up a whole lot for me because in general, I only keep 1 Marine on these mining vessels just in case we find an abandoned ship. That's really it. So other than that, our crewmen are doing very well, as most of them have already leveled up quite a bit. So some very exciting things that are happening. And again, I'm only 2 hours into this gameplay. Looks like I've got some money to spend. We're going to get busy with some more miners, and we'll be back later for another update. So that's going to do it for now. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more as we will continue our coverage of X4 Foundations.